Spill the immunity. The stakes are high, the alliances are forming, and the tea is brewing. Brace yourselves for blindsides, epic challenges, and the ultimate Survivor Showdown.
Here we are in the thick of things. Look at that. Can we just say that Brennan is still leading us with nobody caught? And he only started with 2 people, and he's
and they have a great shot. I mean, he may have the last 2 guys standing when all is said and done. So
yeah,
whatever.
I know. Brennan, good job. Way to be on it. You're like, I'll take those 2.
Yeah.
Good choice.
Yeah, just give it to me. Just give it to me.
It's like, let's go.
Yeah. Alex, right now, for you guys that don't know, you don't see Alex's face. He's still out there with Andy trying to find $5 in a forest.
That's right.
Because apparently Andy doesn't know how to find anything. Wow.
Should we start with Andy?
Let's start with our lovable, still in the game. She's all that, Andy.
She's all that. I know. He did the whole thing.
The whole thing. And kudos to the editing team for showing Sierra kind of look at him like, look at her. You know, like they did awesome with the whole She's All That, a comedy that only 25% of the people in this world saw. A fantastic 90s reference. Andy's doing it, man. Andy's doing it. What was
your dog on search and rescue? Is that what I hear?
Yeah, that's we won't talk about that dog. I married into that dog. Oh, it's a Chihuahua. Bless her heart. So, Bree, what's your thoughts? You know, we'll get to the beginning of the episode very soon. But do you think that Andy, this is like real life, Andy has changed and he's a potential?
I don't think he's a potential. I think he thinks he's a potential. I think he's very solid in his own beliefs, and God bless his heart, as we say. But was it a plan to not get any money? Was it I don't know. He really thinks he's making the moves and he's doing things, but he just isn't quite there. So he gets the star for trying, I guess. But yeah, I think it's good on production for showing us how he walked by so many that were so obvious. I don't know what he was looking at, to be honest with you. I was like, that one on the rock?
All of them. There was probably one on top of his head that we didn't see. And I'm sorry about the dog. Once Alex gets here, I'll give you somebody to talk to. I'm going to talk to the dog later, calm her down. But I just that game. I'm all about the Q hide and go seek game for the same reason I'm about Andy not finding a certain thing. And he didn't find anything because he couldn't see it. He just gets all in his head. He talked about you could hear the time counting down, and that's not a good sign that you're going to be able to endure when the game gets really tough. Because first you have to make the big move. And once you do, you're going to be looked at. And, once Andy does make a big move, he's gone the next episode, I think. Alex, good to see you. Did you find any money anywhere?
What was that? Were you looking for Andy?
Were you looking for Andy finding money? Were you and Andy trying to find $1 somewhere in the woods?
He was trying to find me, and so it took a long time.
Well played. Welcome.
Hey, we all got the hats on today. I love it. We were just talking about how amazed we were at just, he just thinks he's got it going on, and he is kind of clueless. What are your thoughts on Andy, and do you see him going far in the game as far as a potential winner in the game?
No, definitely not a winner. But way too early of a move for Andy. He could have done it way later. So it's interesting to see Andy, because now Sam, I mean, who's his alliance now, right? Like Sam doesn't like him, so he's just kind of hanging out there, completely alone. And the only reason just think it through. It's like the only reason that they put him up is because they needed an alternative. When they don't need, he's not a threat. So, he can let down his hair and shake it out and be new Andy, but that doesn't really change a lot. He's still,
way too early. I mean, was he the reason why Sierra went home? Absolutely, because it was him that kind of started, hey, I'm willing to vote off one of my own. And once anybody from any tribe would have said that, anybody said, hey, like, I'm willing to cut this person out, the conversation would have started. So yes, he was responsible for Sierra going home, and I'm still sad about that. I'll get over it next week. But when it comes to how early that was, I totally agree. That should have been maybe 2 weeks from now, and you guys can talk about what.
He's got to go take care of his dog. The Chihuahua's got a lot to say.
I mean, what are Sam's options now? Genevieve, not really, because Genevieve doesn't really seem to want to work with them. I thought it was an interesting move by Genevieve to want to get Rachel out. I mean, I think she wants to get Rachel out because they're kind of similar in their personality styles, and kind of they have this intellectual play, and so she sees her as that because they're maybe a little bit too similar, and they can kind of go
face off, game, right?
Yeah.
Like, so she recognizes the fact that Rachel is on the ball and smart and going to be an issue, and it's Genevieve's on, like, she's paying attention. That is always what I've said, situation awareness. I think Genevieve has situation awareness. I don't know if Rachel has it as much, or they haven't shown us that she has it quite as much.
Well, what do you think about her her shot in the dark?
I thought that was poorly played.
Oh, I disagree. I thought that was so wonderfully played, that she played that in order to see around the room. Is there any sign that you're going to vote me out? And if I do see that sign, I'll play my idol. But you didn't like that move?
I didn't think she needed to do that move. I really don't. I think it's good to have that in her pocket as an option to keep people. I mean, they don't know that she has an idol. Look, if she needs that big of a here's how to read the room, then she's not paying attention enough. Like, I think it was pretty obvious for them that it was going to be somebody. I don't think she was in any kind of jeopardy.
Well,
to be honest.
maybe she found the idol, right? She finds the idol, which was pretty interesting. Hidden in the tarp, cutting out of the tarp with the machete with everybody there. I thought that was kind of cool. But it does kind of weaken her because she's without a shot in the dark now. So she perceivably she doesn't have that option, but she still has this idol, and so. If she really felt in danger, she would play the idol. So she didn't. Maybe she sort of felt in danger, and then it kind of lowered her threat level because now she can't play the shot in the dark. And so if she does become the one and only target, people will feel like, oh, we got her back into a corner. There's no way out for her, but she still has that idol. And so I think she did play it. Like, if you do want to play it, and you're really not maybe in the threat position, play the shot in the dark and save the idol. But it didn't.
Yeah, and I think she could have played the idol. I think that was the whole reason why she did it. Her playing the shot in the dark and then nothing to come of it, that doesn't make any sense. I completely agree with that. But I think with that shot in the dark, you have such a low percentage of getting a safe vote. So to be able to utilize that. And what she also did is she didn't show her cards to anybody. Who would she have voted for? She didn't have to tell anybody. She hasn't voted in 2 straight tribal councils now.
Yeah.
And so she doesn't have anybody that really hates her because she hasn't voted anybody. So if the plan doesn't work, she hasn't voted, no skin off her back, and she's kind of playing like a Lone Ranger. So I don't know. I think I liked what she did, and we can disagree because I do see your side, but I like flashy things. Ask my wife. But I think that was a smart move, and she secured her idol, and still nobody knows she has that idol anyways. So I'm going to give Rachel a 2 thumbs up this episode.
All right, I got it. Okay, I do see why you're saying that she playing this shot in the dark was a great way to gauge the reaction of people that were there. I get that. I guess I hadn't thought that through all the way, but she gets that F- for subtlety.
Yes, yeah. Because
there were people that seriously saw her. Why are you reaching down and keeping your idol that you've got hidden now in your coat pocket Like, what did you notice that? She was sitting there. Oh, well, I did. She reached, they
At
were
Tribal?
like, while they were voting,
Mm-hmm.
people were getting up to vote. She's reaching down in her shoe, in her bag, somewhere. She pulls something out and she shoves it in her pocket and is
Mhm.
holding it in her pocket, which is her idol.
Mhm.
And
It wasn't the shot. I guess she played the shot in the dark before the vote. So, yeah.
But she had.
When-
I don't know. I don't think that would have been how it played out. I think right now them going back to camp would have been more them thinking, okay, she was playing with the either the paper she got from.
Maybe she wouldn't have it in her bag or her shoe.
Didn't she say something though? Like, didn't I thought you have to present something or
You do, but you get it when you go up there, and you don't bring your bags with you. Like, why, if you played your shot in the dark, why wouldn't she just do it and stick it in her jacket pocket? But she made this whole thing where she, like, you could see her like lean over and fumble, and then she came back up with some, and she like shoves her hand in her pocket and she's holding it. I mean, that to
I'll
me
have to
just
go back and
didn't
watch
make
that.
yeah, I have to rewatch that because I was trying to figure out why is she doing that while people are voting? I didn't understand it.
I'm going to turn that F- into at least a C. I'll go back and watch that. I'll change it to a C and then elevate it to a B+ because I do think it was a decent move. But a C because, like Alex was saying, her getting that idol from a tarp when people were there, that at least gets a B+ grade.
Oh yeah,
the slime.
Yeah, see, like Brendan says, Caroline definitely saw her do that. Yes, there were people that noticed her.
Caroline sees everything.
Yeah, she does. She really does.
Caroline sees everything. It's amazing. I'll have to go back and watch that.
Yeah. So I want to get us back to the beginning because we kind of just jumped on Andy right away because of the no money, no problem.
Oh,
Yeah.
too soon. You can't say that right now.
Yeah.
But what do we think about a Rachel Saul alliance? Is that something that's actually going to be real? Do we think that just because he played that on, and there wasn't a lot of talk after we like that just the two of them like sneaking off at night. That night they came back from Tribal and him saying, "Hey, I sent that advantage to you." And Rachel's like, "I knew you did." And they kind of had this bonding moment. But do we think that the Rachel Saul alliance is something that's real, that's going to last or go forward? Or is she just playing along with it?
This episode was so good. I have a stance on that too. Alex, do you want to share yours? Because I'm just hot.
Well, so we have Sierra voted off. So Sam is kind of a free agent. He doesn't have a close relationship with Andy now. He doesn't really have a close relationship with Rachel now. And so, Tuku is in the majority, right? So Tuku's in the majority, and it looks like they really want to get out Kyle, right? If they can't get out Kyle, maybe they'll get out Gabe. Gabe got some votes. He got 1 vote or 2 votes. So that was kind of their target. And it does seem like Genevieve, Saul and Teeny, they were aligned on the vote and they did come to a consensus and they voted up. And so Teeny is tight with Genevieve and tight with Saul. So I think you will see the target switch to Tuku next week. Sam is a free agent, so him and Saul. But there is a scenario where, Tuku remains in control, and Tuku and this foreshadowing of Gabe on the Mount Rushmore of Survivor. I mean, he's in a good position right now. Yes, he got some votes. Sue and Caroline are probably in the best position because their name is never coming up. They're never seen as a threat. So it kind of depends on, and then you have Andy, the wild card, right? Maybe Andy joins Tuku and, I don't even think he knows what his plan, like, what is his master plan? Okay, we vote off Sierra, then what? What's the next move, dude?
Yeah, his is completely.
You were in the majority. What are you thinking,
base.
Dude?
Yep. Yeah, his is revenge base. He could have done that 2 episodes in. His best move is 2 weeks too early. I think we've all said it. Andy doesn't have a shot at winning this thing. I don't think there was a She's All That 2 for good reasons, or maybe there was.
Right.
But I think he's playing still a sloppy Andy game. But Sierra and Sam weren't playing a good game either. By the edit we saw, still basically, petting their puppy dog and everything else. No matter how bad a player is, you can't ever let them know that they're the GOAT. And they did not do a great job basically this whole season saying otherwise, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I like what Brennan says here. He feels like Saul could have strengthened his connection with Rachel by telling her about the Ciara Sam move. I think that I agree with that. I think it would have been a good point, because they were doing that bonding early in the show where, you know, they were talking about, oh, she's like, my dad, I lived in, where did she say she lived? Michigan.
Thailand. Oh.
She said, I lived in Michigan and my dad wanted to move closer, so he moved to Texas.
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay, I guess that's closer. But if you say Thailand, yes, it's definitely closer.
Oh, I thought it was. Maybe I'm wrong.
Something like that. And then she's like, and then he opened a shop down there, and then Saul says, well, that's what Asians do. We open shops and stores or something. There was like,
Right. He's
oh,
like,
we're
"Oh, my dad
similar.
opened up a
My
liquor
dad had
store.
a store. Your dad had a store.
My
you
dad
know,
had a job too."
Yeah, like he's trying to it was an effort he was making to try to find a closeness, a connection, you know, build on a relationship.
Yep.
And then Brendan's point, then why didn't he tell Rachel, hey, it's gonna go to Ciara and Sam? Because I don't think Rachel has that. And maybe they don't know that. They think maybe Rachel is really tight with Ciara and Sam. That's why they didn't tell her.
And maybe Saul did tell her, and when he didn't see the edit, because again, that shot in the dark and not show a vote, because I think the shot in the dark wasn't necessarily save her game. I think it was to make sure that she didn't show her the side she was on. Because what chances did she have? She could either vote Sam or Ciara, perhaps, because maybe Saul did tell her about that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember there was a clip where she was brought into that vote. I mean, I think from Saul's perspective, you have Teeny, Genevieve, and Saul who are close, right? And they've been close, and I think personality-wise and temperament, they all are very agreeable, and they have to keep the numbers because, you know, they were the lowest amount of numbers, and so they had to keep strong there. You know, when you separate Rachel out from that alliance, well, now where does she go? She goes straight back to Saul, right? And he can just say, hey, the numbers were how they were. I couldn't tell you. And if he did tell her, well, she had an idol, she could have played it for Sam or Ciara. I mean, but they split the vote, so Sam or Ciara still would have went home. And I don't know if Rachel really cared enough to even save one of those two.
No, I don't think she did, because they didn't tell her about the Annika vote whenever they destroyed her game. So I just think that Rachel put herself in a good situation by not casting a vote, because they even said they showed a clip of Ciara and Rachel saying, you know, everybody's quiet, we're not part of anything. This could be bad. So I really do think that was a smart vote. I'm gonna go back to that Saul and Rachel relationship. Yeah, let's not forget, in this game of Survivor, Asians don't do very well. That's just a thing. So I think them having that relationship together that isn't so public is a great one for both of them, and I think it gives them another reason, for whatever reason, that they haven't done very well. This helps them out. I think they are more about this in order for that piece to be improved. Does that make sense?
Yeah, if that's the case, and I do see your reasoning on that, and I do agree with that. For that, I do give them an incredible amount of credit if that's really what their play is, because that's brilliant. It's great. It's a great move, and they don't show any cards. It definitely covered for Rachel, you know, not making a vote against someone. And, you know, it is still always nice to have that. I mean, I know it's a 1 in 6, but you know, if you can keep it is, that might be your last hope possibility. So it's not something you should just use randomly, you know, and throw out there.
Do you think she should have played her idol then?
No, I don't think she should have played her idol.
Okay.
I just think she shouldn't have made such a fuss about what was in her bag. That's the only perplexing thing to me. Yeah. And unless she has some strategy to that, and she might, and maybe I don't understand what that is, but like Brennan said, Carolyn definitely saw it. I don't know who else saw it. I think Carolyn will talk about it. We'll see that conversation next week where she says, hey, you know, Rachel pulled something out of her bag. I think she might have an idol, and she'll tell someone. Who she tells, I don't know. Maybe Sue. I don't know.
My biggest question, I think, from Tribal, and again, I love this season. This season is fantastic. Is where did Sam's idol, like not fake idol, but idol that expired, go? I thought for sure this would have been a great time to kind of hint at something that you're going to do or play it up. Because from my understanding, the only one that knows about that expired idol is Sierra, maybe Rachel. And I still thought that Sierra thought that they had a good enough relationship with Rachel to be able to say, hey, we're going to use something like that. So they must have really blindsided Sierra and Sam on this one.
Oh yeah, I agree. And like Brennan's saying, Sam has the fake idol too, so we could see that used next week. I think we very well might. That's a good call on that, Brennan. I think that Sam definitely plans on using that as a fake idol, and he's now under great threat because it was a tie, and so it was just as easily him going home last night. So
Absolutely.
I think that definitely will come into play.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts, Alex?
Well, they mentioned how likable Sam was, and he's making people laugh and stuff. I mean, he's not really a threat anymore because he doesn't have his alliance, and so I think he'll stick around. It might be too early to play the idol, but you have Sue, who also has an idol, right? And Sue would be one to play it for somebody else. I feel like she would play it for Gabe. She would play it for Caroline, or even Kyle. If he went up, because it'd be a pretty simple idea. Okay, well, Kyle's going out, and they don't have enough to split the votes. Puts Blue back in a good position. And then it's who do they want to get out? And maybe they want to get out Teeny. Maybe they want to get out Genevieve even. God forbid, the worst case scenario.
I think they use it. I think Sue uses her idol. It comes into the play where now we have Kyle with 3 wins under his belt. A hat trick. They said it right on the show.
2.5. I'm not giving
2.5. I know. All right. and I do want to get into all the other stuff that we need to talk about, but I just wanted to say, I can see Kyle not winning immunity and then everyone going, we've got to vote Kyle. And that's the time to make a big move and play the idol on Kyle. And then you guys get your pick, really. Because if you have 3 or 4 votes, if you got Kyle and Gabe and Sue and Caroline, that's a 4-person vote. That's a big majority when everyone is going to pile on to Kyle. You know what I mean? Because he doesn't have immunity all of a sudden, right? And so you can make a big move at that point and really pick who you like.
Do you think Sue would save Kyle after their history?
I think if it progresses her game, I think if it benefits, that keeps them very strong. I think Kyle's very likable and just a good guy. And I've never seen anything between Sue and Kyle that makes me think that they wouldn't work together and stay strong together. Yep. So I totally see her because it benefits her game and Gabe's and Caroline's game as well. The 3 of them, and Kyle is just, he would be the first of the 4 to go, maybe in Sue's mind, but depending on how far they all progress together. But I just see that would be the case where I would see Sue using it on Kyle.
Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to get into. Oh, go ahead, Alex.
Well, I was just going to say, I could see a thing where it's getting down to the wire. Maybe there's 5 or 6 people left, and then Gabe ends up going after Sue because Sue is very strong. I mean, she won the grip challenge today. There's a lot of things that are kind of in that vein where it's grip or endurance, and she's very built, in her strength to body ratio is probably the highest on the season. You know what I mean? So I could see that the game progresses, and then Gabe does want to get Sue out and kind of goes to the end with Caroline and Kyle. Because those are. Looking at some of the other people, and it's like, who could Gabe beat? Because it is kind of seeming like Gabe, like I said, is in kind of the best position right now. He's insulated and has some alliance members around him. So, and Kyle's a bigger threat than he is. So he's done a good job keeping his profile kind of low. And Kyle, not strategic, but he's a likable guy. And a vegan. What? I did not expect that from a Youper. What the heck? What the heck? This Youper is a vegan?
Can you be a Youper and a vegan at the same time?
Yeah, I know.
Is that?
Yeah, it's questionable. Well, now he's not, because he had those chicken wings and he was. So let's get to the outwit, outplay, out breakfast part of our show and talk about the Survivor auction. Sierra came in with the most money, $1,600 or something ridiculous like that. Or I don't know how much she had. She had a lot, $1,200. It was ridiculous. And what did we? I kind of wanted to. Jeff was Jeff going for an Emmy? for acting?
Yes, he was.
That was
Yes,
good.
he was.
What was
That
he
was
doing?
better than Alex's Australian accent. Like that's how good Jeff was with that accent. I thought. Alex, I'm sorry.
That was, yeah.
Sorry.
No, it was. I know. I was feeling threatened by Jeff there. Yeah. Yeah, that was. I don't think it's very good. That was pretty bad.
Yeah,
I
it
think
was-
Jeff
it
is a
was-
reality
I
TV show
loved it.
host and not a Shakespearean actor. He's not John Malkovich.
Yeah.
Jeff needs an accent lesson from Alex. Thank you. Yes. Yes.
100%.
I love that person.
100%.
That is, thank you,
That's
Johanna. Yeah.
Johanna. It's just, yep. There we
I
go.
loved it. I loved every bit of it. But I would also pay to see Jeff take accent lessons from. I would come to watch that. I would be an audience member.
We'll have him on the podcast. Yeah.
I would
Jeff,
love
come on. I'll teach you a thing or two about acting. Don't worry.
It also seems like this season we're getting a lot of people auditioning for host of the Survivor show. So first we had Rome sitting in Jeff's chair at Tribal, running the show and doing, the voiceovers and the narration in the beginning and all these different things. What did we think about Survivor fans? We are in the run and the race for the money for the auction, and he gave us a whole his whole play-by-play sports analysis of the find the money in the forest kind of situation.
He did
Do
a
we-
great job. Did a great
Do
job.
we like production doing those things?
We do.
Yeah, we do.
We do. I like it. Just changes the game up. I do love the She's All That thing. I have to give 100% kudos to the editing team. I'm gonna give Jeff 100% for the idea of throwing money all over the woods and saying you have to go find it, and the shots that they showed Andy not finding anything. This was the best auction ever.
Yeah. I always like when they have to eat the gross stuff too. That's been missing from the auction. I
Yes.
want to see them. I guess somebody ate the big eyeball, and I was surprised. I mean, Caroline ate the big eyeball.
Caroline, she didn't even have to.
She didn't have- no.
The sounds they
Oh man.
like they totally played that up, man. Does
What?
a fish eye make that noise? Like
I've never had one. I maybe Brandon. Well, let's do this. Okay. You research it for us and get back to us.
I'm on it.
Okay.
Yeah, try to find a fish. Let's all have a fish eye the next time we come on the podcast.
Oh,
You know what? I'll say this. I'm gonna controversial opinion. Brace yourself.
Oh, I
The
love
Survivor auction. With the shortened schedule.
Watch your mouth.
You
Don't say
know, I'm not. I mean, I like it. I'm a Survivor auction. Head, whatever. But they just ate and is it really? I mean, it's not.
Well,
I don't know if it's as impactful, but I mean,
it's
still very
impactful
good.
if your name is Andy. And here's the thing that I got to ask you guys about. Now, Sierra bid and won on the peanut butter, correct?
Why didn't she pick Andy?
And why did she pick Andy, who had no
Right.
shot at anything the whole time? And she picks, I get the Caroline choice because Caroline got fish eyeballs. So, I mean, I get that. But Gabe?
Right. Well, and
What was
Caroline
that?
couldn't or I'm sorry, not Caroline, Sierra, they couldn't mend. I guess they didn't know that that his name was leaked, that he was, but you think that Sierra would be like, oh, Andy braiding his hair and a little flirting with Andy. And you know what I mean? Sierra, you have to keep this relationship, with it. Alex, I couldn't agree more. Thank you, Brennan. Alex, I couldn't agree more. Also, the way they do it now just makes whoever has the highest amount win. There's no back and forth. That's all. Hey, yes, that's a good point. That's a good point. What was the old school one? Where they would go back and everyone just has a strategy. They've all hacked the Survivor auction now. They're just max bid, max bid, max bid.
And there were no letters from home. There was nothing. There was nothing I just wanted to see it a little bit more. I mean, I know you've only been gone for 12 days, so it's not like you need a letter from home. But yeah, I know. But I still that was a big aspect of this. You're away from your family. You're doing these things. And, 14 days, 13 days on an island without a lot of stuff does feel like an eternity to these people. And it would be nice to have a little something. They didn't do any of that. I liked it when they had some of these different things. I kind of like the breakfast where they had to eat that was cool. But I still they take a bath or they got a spa day or but they did put something in the fries, and I wanted to get your opinion on do we like that they did that? And do you think Rachel kind of overreacted? Like, no one's going to see you pick up something out of your own dish. She was like, oh.
It almost looked like Saul almost did, because he'd be like, oh my God.
I know. Saul just wanted the fries. Like, he hadn't had enough.
Yeah.
Like, the chips weren't enough.
Yeah. No, I mean, I kind of like that, but it could only possibly go to the person who got that last bid, right? And there would be a lot of, like everyone wants to bid on that last item, right? Because you have to use all your money, and it could be the last thing. I guess they used to make the auction where there was just kind of a set number. Now they draw the rock, and you never want it to be 5 because you want the auction to continue and for everybody to eat. I think there could have been a little bit more dupes. The dupes are always so funny, but I guess you had Sierra, you had Gabe. So I didn't mind it. I mean, I don't particularly like Rachel. She is on the bottom, and so I kind of do like when things get mixed up a little bit. And when the people I don't like are getting voted out. So hopefully she could use it against Tuku in some way, but she doesn't, with Sierra gone now, it leaves her a difficult path. And they talked too about keeping the women strong. Well, that didn't really happen, right? They voted off, and it wasn't, Teeny's choice. Teeny is also one to kind of go along and get along. Like, she just kind of is.
She has,
like I said, she's just like the latchkey kid. Yeah, she's like the latchkey kid. She'll just do whatever. So what is Teeny's play, and how does Teeny, she can't really work with Andy. Like, obvious, her and Rachel could maybe get along, but you just don't see it. So I'm not seeing where Teeny's opportunity here is to make a move. And it always kind of seems to go back to Tuku. It's like, well, you kind of need Tuku to do anything, which just puts them in the complete power position. They have such a strong 3, and nobody else has except Genevieve, Saul, and Teeny. So hopefully, like I said, they can stay together. It seems like they are together. But I also thought it was interesting that Genevieve kind of put herself out there and said, oh, we got to get, we talked about this when you were gone, Brandon, that, Genevieve and Rachel, they kind of have similar temperament, intellectual, they kind of look at the game the same way. And so I think that's why Genevieve was seeing Rachel as the threat, because they both kind of play a similar game, strategic.
Well, and as Caroline said too, she said, oh, this Genevieve's playing exactly like me. So it's an interesting Genevieve, Caroline, Rachel thing we got going on. We've talked about in the show that you don't want to bring somebody with you at the end that looks very comparative to your game unless you somehow know that you've won up them. So the 3 of them is going to be fun to watch them play that out. And it's very interesting that they showed on TV that Caroline understood this. So be watching out for that. I totally agree with that, Alex.
Well, it did seem like Sam and Genevieve did have a good relationship. You've seen them talking a lot. When they first did the merge, they were talking. And that creates a pretty solid 4. You bring Rachel in, that's 5, and then Andy can do whatever he wants to do. But like I said, you have next tribal, you have Sue, you have Kyle as an obvious target, an easy idol play, and another strong person goes home, which will likely come from Lavo, I would assume, right? And maybe it is Teeny because she is just so likable and endearing.
Yeah, I
don't think they see Genevieve as a threat yet, because you saw Genevieve making. You saw Genevieve making that kind of relationship with Sue and Caroline. So I think they would want to work with Genevieve more than somebody like Teeny or even Saul.
Yeah. I think they're savvy this year. I think they're paying attention. There's a lot of people really paying attention.
Yep.
And so we see these groups that are kind of sticking together, these 3 here and these 3 there. But I think also we won't see that last, because it will last for a little while, but I don't think it'll last for very long, just because they're really aware of what everyone else is doing a lot of the time. And they're not going to bring anybody that's with them that's even a close competitor to them. I think Andy goes a long way, because no one will see his moves, even if he has moves that they're taken very seriously. Like, they might have been moves or maybe instigated by Andy, but they weren't like the taking over kind of moves, right, or the big sweeping things, or those big plays are going to come from these big players. And so Andy will just be that kind of person that tag. You don't agree? I think
no, I do agree. I'm shaking my head about Andy's just bad
Andy.
play. I'm just like, it's such a bad move because what is his path?
But he
forward
thinks
now?
it's amazing.
Yeah, because he's like, oh, I made a big move. It's like, dude, you went from one majority alliance to another majority alliance, and you're still at the bottom of the new majority alliance. At least the other people like you had some relationship with them. Sam was telling him things. Sam would give Andy more information than anybody else. And now he he won't even work with. Now Sam doesn't trust Andy at all. Won't work with him. So it's just not a good.
Well,
scenario.
it's been fun too this season because we have Andy's lunch table, right? He made that quote about saying, "Hey, I can't sit at this lunch table, so I'm gonna make my own lunch table."
We talked about that. Yeah,
that's what he thinks that he's doing with this. I don't think so. I like the better conglomeration of people, and that is Saul's Secret Service, baby. I love what Saul is doing because he's so much more subtle about what he's doing, and the players that they're kicking out this season are either the people that have the big pipe bombs like Rome, or the people that they see going all the way like a Sierra. So it's very interesting on what player that you have to be this season. I think for that reason, Sam is safe for a while. I really do think that Kyle is. I mean, you got to watch out the immunity challenges, but I really think Kyle is safe. That puts Sue safe. That puts Rachel safe. That puts Genevieve safe. So it's very interesting the players that they are eliminating this season.
Yeah, I think that, as far as I think Sue and Carolyn are probably in the best seats right now.
Absolutely.
100%. They're just, and I think that it was funny before you got here, Alex, we were talking about Andy and his how he thinks he's doing this amazing job. And the words that come to mind are bless his heart. I think they almost gave Sue that bless her heart that she won that. I don't think they understand the strength within this woman and how tough and strong she is. I think she's done, like, she was really overwhelmed that she won. It was a beautiful moment. I was so happy for her that she won that immunity for, as the longest woman standing on that. And I loved seeing her be that kind of surprised that she won. Like, she wasn't like, oh yeah, I got this, or there was nothing ego about it. She was very, oh my gosh, this was just so important. I just, had my family in my heart and knew they were cheering me on, and she was crying and they were like, oh, Sue, good job. Way to go. They were so happy for her. I don't think it made her any kind of a threat whatsoever still when it comes to physical challenges.
Agreed.
Really.
Agreed.
And so I think that was a great win for her without changing her safety in this entire game, where the opposite has happened for Kyle. I don't think that immunity wins are the be all end all, but I also think that when you start going one after the other, after the other, after the other, yes, it does become a topic of conversation, because there's the fact that you could win yourself safe to the finals, right? And we know that he's going to be able to make fire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And he's so likable.
Yeah. The question becomes, does he do enough at the end to be able to get any votes for him? Because right now all he has is he's kind to people and he's winning all the challenges. Not enough. So he's going to have to do something with that to win the game. Especially since this season, there really is no true GOAT. I mean, Andy, he has a story. Is he a GOAT? I would say so, but at least he's playing the game. So it's going to be interesting to see what Kyle's game turns into and how far he goes, for sure. I would say, when you say he's playing kind of the least out of everybody, Kyle.
Yeah. I mean, he's just with the majority alliance. I mean, there's nothing he really can do. He's in his alliance.
Are you eating potato chips?
You don't hear the crunch, do you? Oh, the crunch.
I mean, a giant bowl of peanut butter.
Who do you think won the auction? Who do you think won?
Saul. Didn't he get 2?
He got the chips, and what else did he get?
Yeah, what if you were out on the Survivor Island, and you got to the auction, what would you be begging and pleading Jeff for?
Not chocolate off of Siri's fingers. I'll say that much right now. The famous Eric clip.
Yeah.
Bree, what you got?
I would want something that has a nice balance to things. I kind of would have been all up in that mac and cheese. I love the size of the bowl, by the way, because they gave her a ton.
Yeah.
The burger was a good choice. I wouldn't have had the beer, so that wouldn't have mattered to me. The iced tea, I would have loved that. So iced tea and mac and cheese, probably because I'm going to get a little protein. I'm getting some good carbohydrates. It's not fried, so that's what French fries. I'm thinking like what's going to upset my stomach the most, and except that it has ridiculous amounts of sodium in it, so I probably couldn't eat it. But wouldn't want a margarita, wouldn't want a beer. I wouldn't want the fried stuff, so no fries, no chips. Pizza probably would have been okay. That cheese would have like seriously screwed my stomach up though. And mac and cheese probably too, but I think it's a little less dense cheese. I don't know. What about you guys?
I would go with the burger, especially from Applebee's. Yes, the Applebee's. So that would have been mine. The beer would have been wonderful, I think. So I'll go with the burger and beer combo. Alex?
Yeah, I think the burger. I feel like that would just be so good out there. I wouldn't want the Genevieve plate of sweets.
No,
that's what she wanted. I mean, I would be like, oh my god. No, yeah, and margarita, like all these people like teeny getting drunk out there. It's like, well, one, you're on Survivor, two, it's like, this horrible hangover, I guess. Maybe not that bad. But you haven't eaten anything. So I'd probably do the burger.
Yeah, they didn't have a pizza this year. I was surprised.
Yeah, no pizza. I was thinking a big steak, but then you remember back when they had too much meat and like they couldn't.
You can't digest it. That's
a little
hard.
Bit more. Yeah.
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 I'm just thinking of digestion. What's the best thing for digestion? And yeah. And Kyle having the chicken wings, good on him. He's like, I'm hungry. I got to eat. This is it. You know what I mean? I've got to eat what I got to eat. And I just have to get through it. And he demolished those wings, by the way. He put I do like wings. I could have. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you had the celery and the carrots and the ranch and anything with ranch. I'm all in. Like, and I don't know anyone's ever said, "Oh my gosh, that ranch really upset my stomach."
I think
ranch a little too spicy.
I would have picked like a chicken parmesan. Like that's what I would have gone with if I had to be out there. That's not my favorite food, but then you got your carbs, you got your good protein. I think a chicken parm would have been fantastic.
Yeah. Frank's saying I would have wanted one of the 3 chickens returned to Jeff. Yes. I would have made so much with one chicken.
Yeah, that's really good.
We've been like, let's do all of the things.
Did they ever put a bow on that? Like, did they ever eat the eggs?
Oh, what would be funny is if they would have had a fried chicken and say this
3 fried chickens.
That would have been so 3 fried chickens would have made my day.
Brennan getting that Kyle didn't eat those wings like a vegan would. I know this to be true. So Kyle dove into those wings and like literally I've been in like chicken wing eating contests. I'm all about chicken wings. I love them. And literally you put the whole thing in your mouth, you pull it off and all you get is bone. That is how a true chicken wing eater eats a chicken wing. Like you don't get any of the spices on your lips. You just pull it in your mouth, pull the bone out. You're good to go on to the next one. Yes, Brennan, he did not eat that like a vegan would.
We have to get this vegan Youper story. Like, how is this? And he works in construction, So I think it's a recent development. But did they mention how long he's been a vegan for? Said he was a vegan and then became a vegetarian. 6 years.
6 years, and then like a few months before going on the Survivor. Before he even knew he was going on Survivor, he became a vegetarian so he would have more food options.
I think it's in the finale. He tells us he wasn't a vegan. He just did that to lower his threat level.
That's something Andy would. That's an Andy thing. That's not a Kyle thing.
Andy would be like, "I'm lactose intolerant." Right. Like, okay, I'm allergic to nuts.
That's oh my god.
Yeah, I'm 5 years old. Yeah, I'm actually a toddler. Let's hear more about Bree and chicken eat. Yeah, Bree, are you like a secret gold medalist chicken wing eater or anything?
I was in the Guinness Book of World Records. Not for eating the most wings, but for being at the event where they serve the most chicken wings ever at an event. It was back in the 80s before y'all were born. It was a long, long time ago, maybe not before you were born, but a long time ago. And it was a little restaurant on the lake in New York. And yeah, they had the most chicken wings served, and they were like 10 cents a wing. So they were super cheap, and you just got piles of wings. And we sat around and saw how many trays of wings we could eat. And I think I ate 5 trays. So that would be like 5 dozen wings. Wow. With a lot of
sitting.
In one sitting. But they're wings. Like, you don't get a lot of meat on a wing. So it wasn't like
but 5 times 12. I mean, that's a big number.
I know, it was a lot of
Andy
wings.
do the math for me. Oh my gosh.
Yep. A lot of wings. I ate a lot of wings.
What did you put on
The
him?
winning one he ate 8, by the way, 8 dozen.
What'd you put on them? What sauce?
They were mild.
Okay.
So we didn't have a gazillions. This was Buffalo Wild Wings was still not even out of Jessica Simpson's head yet. It was like still we were she thought Chicken of the Sea was actually chickens that lived in the Alex gave me this
like the
curious
secret
look.
CEO.
So with Buffalo Wild
what?
Wings, because
Jessica
they're not
Simpson's
from
the CEO
Buffalo.
of
Look
Buffalo
at all
Wild Wings?
them chickens.
Yeah,
Sorry, it's a different YouTube video.
But yeah, so like wings were the thing. And so you had mild, medium, hot, and volcanic. And I think unseasoned were like the only choices back then. And no one had put ranch on them yet either. They were still putting just blue cheese on the wings. So yeah, it was back in the day. I became a pro. I literally go to Chinese buffets to get wings sometimes so I can get as many as I want. So
okay. You got that Quaker steak and lube. I know it sounds weird, but that's just something we got in Wisconsin. You know, you have that in. Did they have that in Minnesota, Brie?
The what?
It's called a Quaker steak and lube. They do all you can eat wings.
It's
like a biker. It's kind of popular in Wisconsin. That's the only
lube in their title.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's a restaurant. Last word lube.
It's definitely something that Wisconsin would have. I totally agree. No, when I moved to Minnesota, they had not. When I said, "Do you guys have wings?" They're like, "What?"
Wings. They're like hot dish.
They didn't know what lacrosse was, and they didn't know what like chicken wings. I'm like, "Do you have wings?" It's like buffalo wings. They're like, "Buffalo wing? What?"
They're like buffaloes? Yeah.
They're like, "Yeah, what?" Yeah.
I think we're hungry today on the podcast.
We are. We must have been an auction.
Hungry.
Must have been an auction. Yeah. And we simply bypassed Brennan saying that you look nothing less or nothing more than 40s. Brie.
40s. I am 45.
You and Sue. Yeah, there 45. You go. There you go. 45.
I was just a kid back in the 80s. No, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. So I had my moment in the Guinness Book of World Records. Woo, that's fun.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you. I was thinking the other day too, what could I do that would like put me back in the book of the Guinness Book of World? Because that'd be like fun. There's got to be some rando thing that not a lot of people do that isn't like riding a unicycle for 150 hours. Like something. Because I can't ride a unicycle, so that would never work for me. I don't know. The
Guinness World Record is kind of fallen off. I mean, it used to be a big thing. I mean, because like you go in the bookstore, go to Barnes and Noble or wherever, and you got this big. I used to love them. That was like my one thing. The one book I read growing up, Guinness World Records, because I always had to see like the person with the smallest head, or like the tallest man, or now that and Ripley's
the longest fingernails.
The longest fingernails. That one
That one was.
Yeah.
Brandon's like, no,
I'm no longer hungry. After Quaker Steak and Lube and longest fingers, like I don't want to eat anymore.
Quaker Steak and Lube, longest, yeah.
Oh gosh,
they should do that. They should do that like Survivor Freaks. They just have all these like longest fingernails. It's like the League of Extraordinary. Or it's not.
I would.
The Mystery Men. It's like you got these just a whole tribe of Andes, right? We talked about that. Survivor, what was it last week? Losers or something, or Survivor failures.
We have to pick our losers. Hey, but I do think we should start a Survivors like world records. I think Andy is probably still on the island looking for money. They told him that was on there. I just think that like we've got to start our own, like, what is the record for this kind of thing on Survivor, but not any of like the big things that everybody's looking at, but like the rando things that we never see happening, like never seeing someone go in the ocean, or never, you know what I mean? Like something that's like totally random.
Like
But-
never eat pineapple.
Or never
And
eaten
then-
pineapple.
And then our boy eats grub worms and
I
all-
know.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Wow.
He
What
had eaten
happened
that
with
before.
that?
He
He's
grew
the
up
guy
on a
really
farm.
transforming his life. That man. He is eating new foods and all the things. Would you have eaten the grub worm, guys?
No,
Sure.
I don't do any of that stuff. No fish eyes, no grub, not any of those things. That's the, like, that would be, of all the things on Survivor, the thing that kept me off Survivor. I cannot. If I ever go on Survivor, I'll be 45 when I get there, and I will never eat anything funky like that. I don't care how hungry I am. I can fast like there's no tomorrow. I do not need to be eating any of that stuff at all.
I'd say like you would eat it, and then if you got like that bad taste in your mouth, and all you had was like water and I guess coconut to get it out, that'd be kind of rough.
Yeah.
Well, they have those
I'd
ones
still do it. I'd
bugs
eat,
that
I'd
are
eat the
like
fish eye.
the bugs, like those. You
Mhm.
remember when they had those great big bugs with the pinchers and stuff?
Mhm.
That was a long time ago. Like
Yep.
no, like
Nope.
no, I didn't even want to get near. I don't want to see it, let alone no.
For me, it was the hair on the grub worms. Like I could probably eat the grub worm until I saw that the detail.
It's the beak.
hair-
Actually, that's the worst part because it's real
Yeah.
hard and
Ugh, yeah,
Sorry.
but
For me,
with
it was
that-
when the black stuff was coming oozing out of Sue's mouth. I was like, what was that? Grub crap?
and Caroline's
crap.
sitting there enjoying
Grub crap.
it. So good.
Well, we got to write the wide things up here. What are our picks? Who is going home next week? Alex, you're up first.
I'll go with wishful thinking. I'll go with Gabe. Wishful thinking. I have a feeling it might be Andy because it's just an easy kind of vote, and it solidifies some different alliances: the Rachel, the Sam, the Saul, the Teeny, the Genevieve. Right? It gets somebody out who's kind of a wild card, because I do see Andy kind of going towards Gabe, like kind of wanting to work with Gabe a little bit more because he's just so clueless, and Gabe, is pretty good at manipulating dumb people, I guess. But so I wishful thinking, but I'll do Gabe.
Okay.
What do you think?
Bree?
Brandon? Oh, you want me to go next?
I do because I'm in between two right now.
Okay, so I'm in between two as well, and they're not front runners. I think we're gonna see somebody go home that's not a front runner next week. Somebody that like they just lose trust in for some reason. And so I'm caught between two. My two are Teeny and Saul. I think one of them will end up going because Teeny's been really wish-washy. She tried to say some things. She's kind of back and forth. I don't know if she's going to be questionable enough for people or something. I just feel like she's in jeopardy this next week. And also Saul, because as sneaky as he thinks he's being and as low key, and I think he has built relationships. The difference between Saul and like Andy, who are doing this, I'm going to come off as this goofy guy, or I have no friends, or whatever, is that Andy didn't have friends at all. I mean, that was the truth. And Saul actually, he was a little goofy, but he's really trying to build relationships. But I think something happens in there in his, I just feel like he's going to be the guy that someone's going to be like, he gave Rachel that advantage. And I think there's going to be some bad blood between people, and he might very well go home.
I think that Saul will actually give information to Rachel saying that I think it's going to be you. She plays her idol finally. And so what happens is Rachel gets to decide, maybe even Saul gets to decide, even though it'd be best for him to kind of hide behind that Rachel relationship and still vote for whoever. And they'll vote blue home, which I'm going to go with Kyle. I hate seeing it. I don't think he's going to immunity again. That would be probably the most consecutive challenges somebody's won since I think the Collars won with Mike winning all the immunities. So I think Kyle's going to go home, unfortunately, because Rachel plays the idol.
Yeah. I mean, that they're all plausible. They're all
They
like,
are. It's
I
hard.
mean, it's a real toss up. It's been an amazing season so far. We've completed 8 episodes already. We're heading towards, getting down to the nitty gritty. It seems to go much faster once we put a person on the jury. All of a sudden, these episodes go super fast, and we're down to the last little bit. And I think that I don't know if there's one the week of Thanksgiving. I can't remember if they
Well, they
still
got to
do.
hurry it up here, yeah, because we're getting to the holidays and it's going to end a week or 2 weeks. So they might do a double elimination, honestly.
Yeah,
You
I
could
could get
see
both
it.
Teeny and Saul out next week. You never
Yeah.
know. It could be a double. I don't
Yeah,
see that.
Genevieve's out there on her own. She doesn't really have a number one. I mean, Andy, but that's not good. So, but yeah, we got to
I
wrap
think
it up.
Genevieve will be in her own space, so I think she'll do really well. But we are running out of time. Thanks, everyone, Frank and Brennan and Johanna, for hanging out with us today. Please let us know who you think you want to see gone next week and who you think is going to make it to the end and win all of this. We'd love to hear what you have to say. Brandon, close us out.
And cut your fingernails.